I own King William District CrossFit. King William District is a little area on the south side of downtown San Antonio. My wife and I, Janelle, own it. We have been open for 12 years now with King William District CrossFit. I've been in the industry my entire life. I started training out of college, and then I was working at more big global gyms as a personal trainer, and then I started following CrossFit.com, the main site, just for my own workouts in like 2006. And then I went and got my level one with them in 2007 in San Diego, and knew at that point that I would own a CrossFit gym at some time. I liked the kind of rough around the edges, which it really was back then aspect. I liked the authenticity of it. When I was working in big gyms as a personal trainer, I could kind of do what I wanted with the people I had, and I developed great relationships. And that's one aspect of working in this field that I really love. I really enjoy that, getting to know people and helping them get better at life and all that kind of stuff. But beyond that, there were some aspects of the big gyms that I found somewhat disillusioning, and I saw an avenue here where I could have a little, for better or worse, like a little community gym and kind of do it the way I wanted, that I thought would be a little more real, have a little more lasting effect. And I knew the time I was living in Chicago, and I loved it there. That's where I met my wife. A lot of good things happened, but I knew I wanted to open up a gym in Texas. And so we moved to San Antonio in 2011, and then opened up King William District CrossFit in January of 2013. So I was working for Lifetime at the time, had a good experience there, learned a lot, and then struck out on my own. Janelle and I did then, and haven't looked back since. I love it more now than I did when we started. I don't see myself doing anything else ever.
Is it hard, or was it hard at the beginning to, in some senses, like redefine what fitness was for incoming clients, because maybe they had a certain perception, or they had a certain experience from other gyms that kind of built this idea of what it was for them?
Yeah, very insightful question. So yes, what I like about CrossFit is I go more towards the just GPP, the general physical preparedness of it. That's the aspect I really like, and I think you can paint with it. You can What can go under that umbrella is almost everything that's useful, and so that's what I do at the gym. I do the programming for our gym. Always have, always will. I love the details of that, but yeah, I grew up, when I was growing up in fitness and reading Muscle and Fitness in the different magazines, all I knew about was bodybuilding. And that's what fitness was, for better or worse, in the 80s and 90s and that kind of thing. And then even as I personally got exposed to CrossFit, and I was kind of a typical meathead that liked to lift heavy and that kind of stuff, and I thought I was in good shape. And then I got exposed to these higher metabolic conditioning kind of workouts and realized I was not as fit as I thought I was. And I found that humbling, but also challenging. And so when people come into the gym, what I'm training them for is to be able to live an active life and not be worried about. You can face whatever challenges, whatever tasks are put in front of you as part of an active life, and that you can do this for your whole life. There's not an age limit on this. I'm kind of an old dad. I have one daughter, Scarlett, and she was born when I was 40. And I think about the fact that I like to go hiking. I like to do that kind of stuff. And when she's 20 and can do a lot of that, I'm going to be 60. And I want to be able to do all that with her and not be limited in any form or fashion. And so that's why I work out in the way I do. And when I bring people in, this is why I like getting husband and wives and regular folks into my gym that are looking for an efficient way to stay fit, that they can fit into their day, that doesn't take too much time, doesn't take too much thought or effort on their part. They show up, they do the workout, they work hard, and then they can go about their day and do whatever they want. And the likelihood of them getting sick, the likelihood of them getting injured, these things are inevitable and unavoidable at some level, but you have a bigger margin for error on all of them when you are just overall a fitter person and all that is encompassed in that. So yeah, educating people that I'm training for the long game. I'm not training for any short-term goal. I am training to have I don't care how high your individual peak is in your fitness level. Like if you peaked as a college athlete or you peak along the way and you're super strong or fast or fit or whatever, however you determine it for a short period of time, that's cool. And that is hard to do. What I think is more impressive and much more beneficial is the average level of my fitness is very high for 50 years, for
Right.
all of my adult life. And that's the person that's winning at life. And that's what I'm in the microcosm of a day-to-day basis, workout to workout, but in the long-term perspective of I have members now I've had for 10, 11 years. They've grown old with me. We've gone from our 30s to our 40s. I'm about to turn 50. And watching us all be just as capable as we were 10 years ago, and in some ways even more capable. And that's really rewarding. And so, yeah, educating people on that is, I'm not training for aesthetics, bigger biceps, abs, anything like that. I'm training to make you a machine that has a large work capacity, that can do a lot of work and recover from that work very quickly. And the nice ancillary benefit of that, the byproduct of that, is that I think you also end up looking the best you can look with your natural body form. When you're a fit version of yourself, you're going to look really good in that. And so training you to have a large work capacity lets your body naturally form into what looks best too. So I say I don't train towards the aesthetics. You end up looking better than if you did train towards the aesthetics. And also you're very healthy inside on top of that.
Is it challenging at all to take someone who doesn't have a bunch of background in fitness, maybe none, and convince them that this is a long game? Like, we can have markers and goals that we set along the way that can be helpful and things, but this is something that is going to be beneficial for decades, for this, for the current place that you're at when you can mention clients that were in their 30s when they started, in their 40s now, almost in their 50s. Um, is it challenging though to take that, what has become, in the industry, a 16-week challenge, or a get better abs in this amount of times, or in this amount of time, or get, summer ready, or get fit for your wedding? Is it hard to take that mindset and almost transition it into a lifelong fitness mindset?
Are you a personal trainer, online fitness coach, or gym owner on the verge of burnout? Are you wanting to grow your fitness business but can't add more hours to your hectic schedule? Introducing Trainer Revenue Multiplier, the premier wealth creation system for fitness professionals that helps you earn more and work less. Visit www.trainerrevenuemultiplier.com today to schedule your free business accelerator session. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, schedule your call today.
It is. And I'll say that's, again, like that's something that I think about a lot, because people like the short-term challenges, and I get it. That's fun to do short-term. I'm going to, do this for 30 days or do that, but it's not sustainable. And most of the things, a lot of times you end up this too, you end up further back than when you start a little while later, because there's this sense of, oh, I did that and I can take a breath and reward myself, without realizing that no, for better or worse, to be fit, you don't get to stop. You don't get to take a break. Now, that doesn't mean also I'm going pedal to the metal every day, because that's not sustainable either. But yeah, my wife handles on our side. We do what I would call nutrition coaching, maybe. It's not, because we used to do, when we started out, some different nutrition challenges and stuff, and I was very unsatisfied with them. And both of us were, just in the sense that even the accomplishments people did, they weren't learning good habits. That wasn't something, what they were doing was like white knuckling it through the 30 days or 45 days. And then I can go back to what I was doing before. And that's counterproductive. So let's figure out a way you can eat that lets you still eat what you want within moderation occasionally, but a way that is sustainable for you. And in the same way, with the workouts, and yes, I have, when you say that, a girl comes to mind, 61-year-old waitress, has never worked out before, comes into CrossFit, and I respect her. CrossFit can have a very intimidating connotation to it. She just walks in, hey, I'm not liking how I'm feeling old. I want to do something about it. And right on, let's do something about it. And so for myself and my coaches, and this is a culture thing you said right out of the gates, no matter what everybody is doing in the gym, I don't care if you're deadlifting 400 pounds or the barbell. I don't care if you're doing handstand push-ups or push-ups off a box. What we're both doing is getting more fit in that moment. We're both working to get more fit in that moment. And for me and for you and the next person, it's all equally important. So I will say that I'm not very impressed with the badass stuff. What I'm impressed with is the consistency. And that's what needs to be rewarded, is just making sure you come 3 times a week at least. More than that if you can, but if you're coming 3 times a week, I think you are moving the needle forward. And then beyond that, based on age and a number of different factors, great. So yeah, it's setting that tone right out of the gates. Like with the girl I have in mind, I'll call her Mary in this situation. Starting out with a PVC and telling her, I'm not worried about how fast you're going to go. I'm not worried about how heavy you're going to go. We're just going to move, because at this point, that is a great level of stimulus for where your body is at. And as your lungs and heart and tendons and muscles are adapting, and you're getting more consistent with the movement patterns of the variety of movements we do, then naturally you can go a little heavier and go a little faster. But you have to do that once your body is ready for it. Right now, let's just move. And so, yeah, that's a culture I have been very conscious of and tried to set right out of the gates with my coaches, with my long-term members, with myself. I meet with each member when they join individually and kind of give this philosophy on it as they come out of the gates. And then they'll see that reiterated and reinforced by our community. Because I will say the people that have been with me a long time very much subscribe to that too, and have been with me now long enough that they see the rewards of it. So they believe in it. They know it works. And so it is not, how hard can I go today? Yes, you need to work hard when you work out to get results, but it's also just being intelligent about it, putting your ego aside, and then being able to come back the next day and the next day and the next month, and etc.
How hard is it to get people back the first week and several weeks and maybe month, or however long it kind of takes for them to buy in? How long is that typically take, and how do you do that? How do you get those people coming back?
So that is a never-ending challenge, and there's different types. There's the person that comes in, never does anything, and just, they're going to naturally kind of feel uncomfortable and dumb, or all this feels very foreign to me. So it's a lot of encouragement and reassuring them and celebrating the little micro goals and just the fact that you're here again after yesterday. There's the group that, whether they come from an aerobic background or a lifting background or whatever they come from, believing they have put effort and time into their fitness, and then coming in here and there's more foreign stuff and there's a lot of stuff they're not good at, and can they swallow their pride a little bit and get through that? And what I say about CrossFit, and I think this is true of any way of working out effectively and hard, anybody can do it, but it is not for everybody. And I'll see that people come in and they'll have those first couple of challenges in whatever way that manifests itself with them. And there's people that are like, holy cow, that was tough, or that was really rough, and I want more of it. I need to come back for more. And then there's other ones that will, oh, this is dumb, and this isn't for me, and that kind of stuff. And if you set up the tone with them correctly at the beginning, you can lessen that kind of negative reaction, but it's going to be inevitable with some. And it could just be even wrong timing at where they're at in life. What I tell people, though, for an expectation, to be clear on this, is you need to be willing to commit 2 to 5 days a week and do this for at least 3 months. At that point, you'll know your body has had a chance to react. You've gotten familiar with it. At that point, do I enjoy this? Is this for me? And if people will do that, what I know is they're hooked. If they will do that 2 to 5 times a week for 3 months, 95, 97, whatever, almost all of them are going to stay with it for an extended period of time if they will do that. It's the ones that will come in and take 2 or 3 classes and it's very foreign or whatever, and they just find that too jarring, and it's hard to suck some of those in. But over time, I will say the percentage of the ones we're able to keep has definitely grown by having these kind of talks right out of the gate. That's why I try and meet with each member, is having that tone set. And then I think culture's like a plant. It takes constant care and watering, but the longer it's there, the deeper the roots grow, the more it's entrenched. You can't ever ignore it, because it's something you have to keep watering and taking care of, or you will lose it. So I don't ever take that for granted. So it's something I'm very always working on, talking to my members, talking to people. It just happens very organically. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the reward of having a gym for this long is that culture is kind of set. So they get a lot of encouragement from the other people in class. Hey, I've been there when I did this. I'd never done any of this stuff. the other guys that are talking to guys that are like, man, you know, this girl next to me is lifting more weight than me right now. What the heck's going on here? And being like, hey, I was there, and like, you get better at this kind of stuff, you'll grow with it. And so they get that not just from me or the coach, but from other people around them. And so that's nice once you have that built, that there's that support system. But that's always a hurdle you have to cross at the beginning with people.
And you mentioned that give me, you know, X amount of months and see if you like it kind of deal. Do you feel like that is something that humans just want in general, is almost like a way out?
I mean, yes, I think I know what you're saying, because I don't do contracts. People can quit whenever they want. I make it very easy, frankly, to quit. I believe in the product we're giving, and that I can back up what I say we're going to give you. And so I don't want you here if you don't want to be here. I think I can, by and large, I'm going to make you want to be here. And if you do it. And so giving people hey, just give it a try, give it a test. I know I can say, I'm not a super gifted salesman. What I can do is be very honest with you. Since I honestly believe you're going to like it and it's going to reward you, and I feel confident that, I think people sense that for me. But then it's try it out. And yeah, if for whatever reason it doesn't work out for you, no hard feelings. Like, I'm not going to give you a hard time. No worries. And I think that makes people feel comfortable that, yeah, I'm not signing, you have to sign a 6-month contract, a 1-year contract. You can quit tomorrow if you want to, but give it an honest try. You spent the money up front. You're not going to get your money's worth unless you are willing to commit to this for a little while. And that way you can make an educated decision. And I think it does.
Are you a personal trainer who wants to scale and grow your business online? Have you been coaching online for years, yet don't know how to incorporate online into your current business model? Introducing Trainer Revenue Multiplier, the premier wealth creation system for fitness professionals that helps you earn more and work less. Visit www.trainerrevenuemultiplier.com today to schedule your free business accelerator session. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, schedule your call today.
They don't feel trapped. They don't feel a hard sell. I'm like, see what happens. And yeah, I think people do like that.
You also mentioned kind of a type of person. I want to kind of dig into that a little bit. What have you seen is the stereotypical person that comes to you?
Yeah, and I will say it's awesome how it is all different walks of life. And I am still occasionally surprised, and I love getting surprised, because you find out what people are made of over time, and that who will take on the challenge and who shies away from it. You have to be able to work hard. I don't, whether you do CrossFit or any other method of training, I think to get results, you have to work hard. And that can be jarring to people. And I think, frankly, the people I think that have the hardest time coming in, as you get older, I think, one, life rubs the rough edges off of you. You tend to not be as, you're a little more humble. You're a little more comfortable in your own skin, that kind of stuff. And so, again, taking on something new and being a little humbled and kind of starting at the bottom and working your way up, I think is easier to do as you get older. So what I have seen is the hardest people that actually to do CrossFit is people that are good athletes or consider them good athletes in their 20s. And they come into this, and because they're gifted genetically or whatever, stuff they've done has come to them relatively easy. Not saying they didn't work hard, but they pick stuff up quickly. And because CrossFit combines body weight gymnastic movements, and then you're doing endurance stuff with running and rowing and machines, and then you're using a barbell and a kettlebell and dumbbells and all this kind of stuff, we are going to find the stuff you're good at, and we're also going to find the stuff you're not good at. We all have natural bents that way. And when you find that stuff you're not good at, are you willing to work at it, or are you just used to stuff coming to you kind of easily? And so, yeah, the bulk of my gym did not come from an athletic background. I mean, maybe they played sports in high school or college, but these are not those kind of people. These are regular folks with kids or a family and jobs, and they're realizing, I think one of the hazards of a civilized society is if you don't go out of your way to get fit, it's not going to naturally happen. You're going to naturally get very sickly and unfit. And so it's when people realize that's the path they're going down, and they realize that at different points along that path, some are further down it than others, but, oh man, I need to do something about this. I need to figure out a way that fits into my life that will enable me to feel good physically, to be alert, to have energy, to recover, that I can feel athletic. I can, run across this parking lot to get a runaway shopping cart. I can put stuff up in the garage, whatever the case may be. And they're seeking out the ability to do that. When I can show them that even with what we're doing, the reason we do a lot of weird stuff, you want to call it, like, why do I need to do a power snatch? Well, if you can do that, you are not only getting stronger, you're getting much more athletic. You know how to control your body in space. You know how to move explosively and yet control that. And so the way that spreads out into other areas of life is massive. And so, yeah, I think the hardest people to do this are people that are, their physical ability has come to them relatively easy, and then they come in here and now you've got to work hard. Whereas I think a lot of people that are not that athletic gifted don't have to learn stuff, have to work at it, which is myself included. They're willing, once they get knocked around or they realize something's hard, they kind of know, like, yeah, this is going to be hard, but they're willing to come back and face it again. Because to me, that's much more of a mental thing. Like, we all have physical capabilities, but mentally, are you willing to devote to that? And yeah, it's actually the most gifted physical people that sometimes have the hardest time doing that.
I've never really thought about it from the perspective of like keeping someone engaged in that sense.
That's the beauty of it. You've nailed it. Like, one, if you do this wrong, that's why I say if people give it 3 months, like, they'll stick, you will never get bored, because there is always stuff to work on. And there's always stuff. Yeah. Even as you get older, I'm about to turn 50. Like, I because a lot of my history is the barbell. Yeah. When we have barbell workouts and that kind of stuff, I'm better at it. It feels natural to me. When there's a lot of long runs or we're doing a lot of biking, I am not as good. That just takes a lot of work on my part. It's not my natural bent. But that's exactly the stuff I need to be doing. That's what's going to move the needle on my fitness level. And everybody has that, the triathlete comes in, they've got a great level of aerobic endurance, but yeah, the barbell feels totally foreign in their hands. There's the gymnast that they can move their body weight in space, but yeah, having these different implements in their hand feels awkward to them. And so viewing that as, yeah, this is why I don't plateau. This is why also we avoid injuries, because we're not doing the same repetitive. There's, foundational movement patterns. You're going to squat, you're going to hinge at the hip, you're going to press and pull, you're going to do these basic movement patterns, but we're going to do them a lot of different ways. We're going to do a lot of them, and then we're going to do just a few of them heavy. And some workouts, there's going to be a lot of body weight movements, and others there's going to be none. And that variety, even for myself, is what keeps it interesting, keeps it fun, keeps the gains coming on that, keeps the progress going. And because it's measurable, we'll revisit workouts, certain types of workouts. We'll revisit them year to year to year. And it's great to see for people that have been with me 10 years and, it's a workout involving, I don't know, deadlifts and some squats or something. And they do it faster than they've ever done before when they're 49 compared to when they're 39. So they're actually more fit in that way and have more capability. And that keeps people engaged more than anything I know, is once you get into it and realize these little things I'm not good at are not a frustration. Oh, it's a new opportunity. This is how I can round out my overall fitness as a new challenge. And it makes you not just, if you're doing a bicep curl, if you're doing a shoulder press machine, you are working those muscles. There's no doubt about it. But you're not per se getting more athletic, because so much of what we do is moving your body in space. And some implement a barbell, a dumbbell that doesn't do anything on its own. It only does what I tell it to do. And so learning how to be coordinated and have balance, kinesthetic awareness of your body in space, be able to learn new skills quickly. Those are all things that make you just more of an athlete. And that's why I refer to my members as athletes, because I don't care if you're playing sports or not. Life is an athletic endeavor, and it requires athletic coordination at times. I need to jump up on this curb. I need to get something out of a tree, whatever it ends up. When I can do these kind of things, you'll just end up doing them because you're not afraid of them. And that's one of the great benefits of what we do, is you end up just not having bigger muscles or having a stronger heart. These are essential things, but you're just more athletic. You can move well.
This podcast is sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to give back to those in need. Don't forget to use code TWR10 for a 10% discount at checkout.
I think there's the misnomer you can you can only get good at one thing at a time or something like that. And the beauty is, and without getting too technical, but like there's different energy systems in the bodies, there's different types of muscle fibers, and these things can grow concurrently to each other. They can. And I've had that where I've had people we have lots of people that, if you like doing marathons, half marathons, if you want to go, climb Mount Kilimanjaro, I want to help you do that. And watching people that have always run and done marathons, and they come with me and they're just doing CrossFit maybe 2 to 3 days a week because they're doing a lot of volume on their running and their swimming and that kind of stuff. And not only they're feeling better, they're avoiding injury, and then they PR their time. They get the best score. And I've had people that'll do half marathons that have run their whole life, and then they come in and they don't even run for a while. They're just doing CrossFit 3 to 5 days a week for 6 months, and they go out and they get the best time they ever have on a half marathon. And it shows what I'll say again is you do need to be willing to work hard. It is that intensity, and that intensity is relative to each person and where they're at. But whether that means a higher heart rate or a moving heavier weights, both of those things kind of intensity, that has a profound benefit on your long-term endurance. You still need to do the long-term endurance, but it kind of rolls downhill where when I get people to do these strength things and go fast, it benefits their long-term, their kind of zone 2 ability, their aerobic training to go that way. And you need all of it because you do need a strong heart and lungs. You need that ability to have that aerobic base that your body can work, because that system is always working in the background, no matter what you're doing, heavy or fast or slow, it's always working there. So you need that foundation. But yeah, you need to train all these other aspects of your body too, or you're for no reason limiting yourself and limiting your body's capability. And the variety of what we do, and as you said, adding something new, the body responds so well when you add new stuff to it. And it needs to not be really haphazard. It needs to have some thought behind it. But when you do that variety, I can get better endurance and stronger and more explosive. And I can frankly do this all at the same time. You have to be measured with your volume, and there's too much of a good thing. But if that's done right, all these things can grow for a long time together.
One of my favorite things is just testing myself, almost becoming like a lab rat of myself a little bit.
I do the same with myself. I find that very fun. And it's remarkable, what the body is capable, what it can recover from, what it can do when it's been properly trained and conditioned. And I find that so rewarding in other people to see the girl get her first pull up, the person run their first, 7-minute mile or stuff they never thought that they could do. I have grandma over here that can now deadlift her body weight, and these things that would have just been inconceivable. And I think the mental and physical rewards, you just can't overstate it, how that just makes you feel more capable for life, improves your outlook on life. And now you're more fit in that way too. So it's that never stops being rewarding. And I agree with you. It's just amazing to see what the body can do when you put your mind to it.
What do you think is causing or shifting the tide in the direction of fitness and health and the population? A lot of people that you're talking about, like just the average Joe, if you will.
So that's a complex question, but I do, I see people realizing. I was talking about there's that old, not old, but for me, but there was that cartoon Wall-E about that little robot. It was set in the future, and in the future, all these people are, frankly, big fat people riding around in these flying wheelchairs with just tubes that feed them all the time. And I feel like that's a hyperbolic version of where civilized society takes you, that if you don't do something about it because of the processed foods and the amount of sugar and the fact that a lot of people work very sedentary jobs, you're aging in dog years. Like you're 40 and you feel and look 60. And I think there's a lot of negatives about social media and the internet, but I also think that some of the positives are you will get glimpses of the fact that this is not the way it has to go. There are people out there that are fighting this. There are other people that, man, that person's the same age as me and they look 20 years younger and can do everything I want to do. And so I think people get glimpses of this or just are very dissatisfied with how they are feeling in general. And I've got young kids, I've got a job, I'm 45 years old and I feel terrible all the time. And I appreciate the people that I get even coming in the gym that are just dissatisfied with that. And I'm hoping and I'm looking for an answer to fix this. And I can provide the answer. I can provide the solution to that problem. And it's not, frankly, rocket science. There does take some guidance on it for the person that hasn't looked into it. You need some guidance on that, but it is a matter of, you don't have, this is not just, you don't have to be resigned to this is how it is. And you're right. I see that from like my parents' generation. It just, you kind of get old and this is what happens. And that's very unfortunate. And I still try and change that mindset too. But if you can get them a little bit younger, that no, that going down that road is not inevitable, but you do have to consciously make choices along the way to steer your path another direction. And then it spreads, with the gym, it spreads by word of mouth, because then you suddenly see there's somebody in the family that has lost a lot of weight, or man, they're the same age as me, or that's my younger brother or sister or older brother or sister, and they're looking way better and they're feeling really better. And man, they're talking about how great they feel. And there is a potentially another path on this. I don't have to just be resigned to this. So I think it happens somewhat organically, because I think there's kind of a two directions society is going. There is the group that's fighting it and is trying to get more fit and doing that in whatever that way they find. And of course, you're going to be very enthusiastic about it when that happens, because it feels great. You become very passionate about it. And then there's the group that's just kind of going down the normal path of life and having a job and family and getting older. And the more people we can pull out of that path into the other path, then the more that spreads out across society.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about like what the future does look like, in the sense that if, health does continue to get, for the person that isn't doing these things, worse and worse, and it just happens sooner and sooner, you also have a segment of population that is doing the things that be on the right track and to be healthier. I mean, have you ever thought about what that leads to, and just a like a nationwide, kind of slippery slope?
I wonder. I think it is a slippery slope, and I think in some ways that's a very dark future, because I think just from an economic standpoint, the costs of having people that are sickly or on pills, and I see it's so unfortunate, but even here in San Antonio, seeing kids that are 9, 10, 11 and are already obese and very unathletic. And you didn't see that, in the 60s or a long time ago, because so much of what we did was manual and there was so much more natural athletic activity than there is nowadays. And plus it's adults that are already in a bad place, and then they have kids, and the kids are eating the same thing the adults are eating. And it's not like per se it's their fault, but they're just going down this same path. And before you know it, you're a teenager and you have you're pre-diabetic, or you're diabetic and you're overweight. And then everybody's throwing all these different pills or medicines at you. And that is starting, as to snowball. And I don't know where the wave breaks and rolls back on that. Exactly. I think for each of us, like you're doing and I'm doing the best we can to make a difference one person at a time. And that thing, because I have watched, even in my little world, whole families change because of one person that started getting fit, and then they get their mom involved and their dad involved. And I have generations in the gym where I've had from grandma to parents to kids all coming, and these were regular folks. And so I think it's all of us trying to fight that in a real and authentic way. So not in there's plenty of gimmicks out there. And as that's, I think, always going to be the case in the fitness world. And that's why I try and just preach that a lot of it is just, you got to work hard. You got to, your body can work hard. It is capable of working hard. And when I hear somebody they're 40, I'm so old. No, you're not. You're not old at 40. Like, you're in the prime of life. And so just raising the bar, that I have had higher expectations for all of us than normal society might. And it's not just the absence of sickness, which is what I think a lot of doctors are trained for, which is what they're supposed to do. I need to remove sickness from you, but is moving that needle as far toward wellness and fitness and health as you can, so that you have a much bigger margin for error. So you can get sick or stuff's going to happen and your body can fight it off. So it is not just the absence of the sickness side, it is the abundance of fitness and wellness that gives you just so much leeway to age better. Your brain's going to be more active your whole life. All these things that, I'm just, with dementia on the rise, and realizing that's something we can fight. That's something that is not inevitable, but it's it's all the Cokes you drink when you're young that you don't think are going to make a difference, and they all cascade on you as you get older. But it's those kind of little decisions along the way. And I don't know if you, in my opinion, I don't know that it's ever going to be the majority that we can pull out of that, but I think we can make it a significant minority that are finding the better life, and maybe we can make that group as big as possible.
Well, I mean, that's the goal, right? Is to make that group as big as possible. And I'm excited for the future because I think that there's a lot of people who are just having more self-awareness for their own, like what they want out of their own life in a sense. And I think that goes into a very, very broad conversation of everything, career and family and everything. But part of that is their own health and their own fitness. And I think that we also have a great abundance of information out there, maybe to a fault at some level, but nonetheless, there is a lot of great information out there. And if we can make sure that's in front of people, and especially like you say, and reach them as soon as we can and on that age, bracket, and just continue to impact. And I think that, you're doing your part. We all try to do our part, and we just make a little chip away at it a little bit at a time. But I appreciate you coming on here, man, and kind of sharing what you're doing.
I mean, even you doing this podcast, that's exactly it. The amount of information that is for free for us out there has never been, it's never in humans history. It's never been like this. And if you want to find the answers, you're right. You're going to have to do your work and seek it out. But there's so much good information at your fingertips. I just love it. Like, I love my car rides because I can listen to podcasts like this and learn something I didn't know before. And I can do that for the rest of my life. And so I agree with you. I think this is making a difference for people. They're going to find it however they find it. And it's because it is easily available. So yeah, you're going to have to sift through stuff, but it's right there and you can find the answer. We are so blessed here in the States, and I do not take that for granted. And I want people to not, because I don't see any, if you live in the United States, Canada, anything like, there is a way you can do this. You can seek out a fitness level. I agree with you. No matter what your money level, there's a way to do it. And even, if you can just, like you said, look up on the internet, you can find ways to get more fit with no equipment, just in your own driveway or in your own living room. So like there is no excuse for us here in America. And we have the ability to have food options where so many people don't. So not taking that for granted, taking advantage of it, and trying, one person at a time to kind of spread that good news that we can do this.
Right. It was great once again having you on here. I appreciate you coming on. And if there's any info or any details you want to share before you head out, you can go ahead and do that.
Well, yeah. So, Jim, again, our gym, King William District CrossFit. You can find us on our website is kingwilliamdistrictcrossfit.com. You can also look us up on Instagram, King William District CrossFit. If you go to that website, kingwilliamdistrictcrossfit.com, my name is Dan, myself and Janelle in the gym. Our phone number is on there. Our email is on there. I would love to talk to anybody about this. I will talk anybody's ear off. I love talking about this subject. I'm very passionate about it. So if you have more questions for me too, don't hesitate to reach out.
If you're tired of searching for a coach or trainer, somebody who knows what they're talking about and has experience, make sure you go check out the new Coach's Corner on weightroompodcast.com. You can find quality, qualified coaches to help you achieve your goals, whether that's in bodybuilding or just general fitness. Stop wasting time and start achieving your goals today. The link to the Coach's Corner is down in the description below.